So there are tons of choices out there in the sedan market, but one that's been around for quite a long time has to be the Volvo lineup. Now, hey, and welcome to this edition of Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Roberson. Now, this week we get behind the wheel of the S60 model, a new and refined edition, far from the box models from way back when. So let's take a look at this model and dive inside. So the first thing you're asking yourself is, what is the crucial aspect of the S60? Well, it has to be on the outside, because looks, of course, do matter. Now, we've come a long way since the 70s and those box-like designs, going more with this new refined look. Now, we saw this in 2013, and it really has that new aerodynamic, of course, sculpture that Volvo is delivering. Now, the one thing I do like, of course, is this sweeping roof line. Kind of dives into the rear end here with very minimal rear trunk. Now, you do have a midline along here and a nice sculpted hood, which we'll look at just now. So the architecture isn't just in buildings, but really in the design of this vehicle, and it all kind of comes together here on this hood. Now, we can keep a hood perfectly flat and simple, but why not add a little pizzazz like they did here? Now, it has this kind of architecture that kind of slopes in, gives a little bit of a shape and a little bit more refinement, something just taking this vehicle to the next level. So as you sweep down the car, it's all going to culminate at the rear end, and really this kind of diving back to the rear trunklet. Now, this is out on a lot of vehicles, and what we're seeing is, of course, a minimizing of this rear trunklet. Now, the station wagon has long since been gone, and what you find is the typical sedan with just this minor offering. Now, where that all translates to is, instead of our huge rear trunk, you got this kind of cavernous-like approach, but it still delivers sedan quality and decent cargo. When you think of Volvo, of course, you think of safety long before anything else, and this is the new generation. Now, we've heard of blind spot awareness, and the Volvo really handles that fine. Now, it all starts here at the mirror and really allowing to have that sense of awareness that a vehicle is maybe in that blind spot as it comes up. Now, unlike other vehicles that have kind of an indicator here in the mirror, which to me is just a little bit more difficult to see, what they did is actually change that light and put it right there on the inside. Really illuminates when there's a vehicle and goes away as they pass by. Now, let's swing around to the back and check out some more safety features. One key feature to any type of safety has to be when you're backing up the vehicle, and on a big SUV, of course, it comes standard with the backup cameras and all the sensors, but on sedans, maybe it's an afterthought, but not here on the Volvo. Now, we've seen all the standard sensors like this, really associated with more of parking, giving you the kind of proximity awareness, but what they're starting to do is couple with all the other sensors and give you that blind spot cross awareness traffic. Now, what that means is, as you're backing up a vehicle coming down the road, it's actually going to know it maybe long before you do. Now, another feature you can't overlook has to be the backup camera. Now, again, this was something more on bigger vehicles, but it's starting to kind of invade the market for even subcompacts. Now, this one's right here and gives you a nice bird's eye view of anything behind you, and is a key feature when it comes to safety. As the backup sensors and cameras have evolved, we've obviously wanted to take that and put it here on the front end. Now, this is starting to evolve again on a lot of vehicles, and what we're referring to, of course, is the sensors we saw on the back end that allow you to kind of get into those tight spots in parking and really kind of use a radar-like system to get in tight spaces. Now, what they're also doing is starting to equip more of these systems, which is more of a radar-like program. Now, what that does is couple with the cruise control, allow you to be in tight traffic, set the speed you want, and the vehicle is going to set your proximity related to the traffic. Now, as it opens up, it's going to increase that speed to what you set it. But again, another level of safety that really takes it off your mind and allows you to focus on the driving and not all the electronics. With safety, you of course have to have decent power, because when you get in those sticky situations, you want to be able to tap the gas and get out of the way. Now, for the S60, it comes in 3 4-cylinder models, either the T5, the T6, or the diesel version. Now, by those numbers, you're looking at the T6 like we have here, delivers around 306 horses, the T5 about 245, and the turbo diesel 181. Now, this was of course turbocharged, and we noticed it got off the line with ease. Now, if you prefer to get that all-wheel drive traction, that's going to upgrade this to a 3.0 liter V6 engine, around about the same horses, but of course grip at the corners. If you haven't been in a Volvo in a while, this is where you're going to notice one of the most drastic changes from the years gone by, because it all starts here at the seat and the deliver of comfort that it brings. Now, what you're going to notice is they're really sculpted, really snug, and maybe just a hair on the tight side, but what I like when you're zooming around the corners is it really holds you snug. Looking at the rest of the interior, this is where Volvo brings that innovation into the S60, and it all starts right here at the dash. Now what you're going to notice is about a 7-inch screen there front and center, kind of built into a niche. Now it's not touch screen, it all relates to a lot of buttons down below, but gives you the kind of ease of the touch screen without the reach. Now as you scroll down, you'll find one center kind of vent right there in the middle, a CD player, and of course the typical cockpit like button controls. Now what we notice here is you're going to find the typical volume and the kind of mode select over here with numerous buttons in the middle. Now this may be a little kind of antiquated compared to the other touchscreen systems, but this is kind of standard operating procedure for Volvo and have been out for years. Now what I do like is the functionality of this is kind of central to the control of the system and the corresponding buttons. Now if you notice, the perimeter is what really sets up the vehicle. Really kind of navigating your way around these buttons is at the forefront of learning this system. One area that's really easy to use on the Volvo has to be the climate control, because it's all right here and pretty much easy to understand. Now this did come with dual climate controls that dial in specific temperature, relates to the LCD screen up above, giving you specific temperature to your liking. Now of course you got the heated seats, a 3-level system for added comfort. Now the fan control speed may be a little on the small side, but it's really tucked in here in the middle and easy to use and find. The vent control system right here, just simply press on what you're looking for, where you want the air to flow out. Now the other controls are to the side, and again really easy to use and something they've kind of stuck with for the last several years. Now down below is going to be some safety features. One thing I really like is the ability to flip these rear headrests down with the press of a button. Helps kind of minimize any blind spots when there's no one sitting back there. The other ones relate to driving, and this one's one you might want to be able to understand, because it basically is that system that turns the car off when you're at those stop and go situations, and it kind of is distracting to maybe some of the passengers. And what that does is help save fuel, but when you really don't want it on there, just press that and it turns it off. With all the safety on the outside, of course you got to understand it all starts right here, really with Volvo's driver-centric like systems, all under the blanket name of IntelliSafe, really referring to all those active systems that help keep you safe while going down the road. So let's take a quick look at some of these features. One important technology has to be the new pedestrian and cyclist detection technology. Now this new advanced software includes more of a rapid vision processing and has made it possible to extend Volvo cars' present detection and auto braking technology to cover certain cyclist situations. For example, if a cyclist is heading in the same direction as the car and suddenly swerves out in front of the car as it approaches from behind and a collision is imminent, there's an instant warning and full braking power is applied. The technology also detects if a pedestrian steps out in the road in front of the car. If the driver does not respond in time, the car can warn and automatically activate the brakes. Now one great innovation has to be the headlight system and its cornering light for better visibility. Now notice this when I went down the road, as I barely made an indication to turn left with the steering wheel, a light kind of illuminated to the left, really giving you better visibility. Now this happens at kind of lower speeds and really interacts with the bending headlight system. Now what that does is as you go down a dark road and kind of sweeping into those curves, those headlights are going to kind of sweep ahead and give you great illumination long before you get there. Going along with the headlight system, another awesome part is the permanent high beam with groundbreaking technology. Now what this is, the active high beam control eliminates the need to switch between low and high beam. Instead, active high beam control makes it possible to keep the headlights on high beam continuously. When another car approaches from the opposite direction, the system helps to prevent dazzling of the oncoming driver by shading out only as much of the beam as necessary. This is done by an ingenious projector module mechanism integrated into the headlight. Now the engine comes coupled with an 8-speed automatic transmission, and I pretty much put it right in standard drive mode, but if you prefer the little bit sportier attitude, simply pop it to the left. That's going to give you a manual-like feel. Now as you sweep up, you're going to notice that the steering wheel actually has these paddle shifters here, the up shift on the right and the down shift on the left. Now this really takes this car to the next level. Coupled with that turbocharged like engine, of course it's going to give you a little boot scoot and boogie off the line and that kind of added manual like feel. Looking at the climate control for the back seat, where you're going to find it instead of in the center between the front seats, you're going to find it right here on the pillar. Now what's great is it's really directional and kind of points it right here at the back passengers and can kind of dial it in or taper it down if you want. Now there's one here on the driver's side and one for the other on the passenger side as well. Now that does it for this edition of Road Warrior on Test Drive Behind the Wheel, the 2015 Volvo S60. Now we hit a little bit on the safety features, something Volvo has always been known for, but with this model has taken it to the next level. Now as for the overall size, it really fits the niche and handles, passengers with ease and delivering that comfort to go along with it. Now, as always, I'd like to thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior, and keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.